What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another video review. And today I'm going to take a moment to talk about another one of my hobbies, which is not just Transformers, but also I do Gundams. And so I'm just going to take a while and talk about how flippin' amazing this kit is. So this is a completed model kit. I completed it. It came in a box and lots of little pieces. This is the real grade RX-93 Nu Gundam, and it is freaking amazing. Now, what you're seeing here is I have, after I finished it, of course I got all I inked in all the panel lines and applied all the decals, and good lord is there a ton of decals on this. Just decals all over everything. Decals in places where you wouldn't even think decals would go. And by the way, I want to say about the decals. By and large, the decals are really well done. Like they're generally like okay. So there's this one right here that goes right on that red section there. All right, and it's already like cut on the sheet to be the right size and shape to fit just perfectly into that. And you see a lot of that sort of forethought going into, there's one that goes and fits into this space here, and the ones that go and fit on around these corners here, like they don't need any trimming or anything like that. They're done really well. But yeah, it just comes in a bunch of little pieces, and you clip them off the frames and put them all together, and just it's a lot of fun. I like doing these. But anyhow, so let me talk about this figure. And I think probably the place where I want to start is by talking about the posability, because it's already got all the accessories taken off. So, starting at the top of the head, his neck is on a ball joint here, providing a really good range of posability on it. Goes all the way around, looks down, looks up, but then its neck has got a ball joint on the bottom as well. So it moves back and forth a little bit, and a little bit of like shifty neck wiggle going on. But then that is attached to another section. You can see this white piece right here in the collar that actually moves up and out. So you get a lot of range on this. Just a lot of range. Huge amount of range. It's fantastic. The arms are, first of all, you just got this basic peg connection here, and so that allows them to go all the way around. Whoops, I didn't seat that one on there all the way. There we go. And then this whole section pulls out, and there's just a phenomenal amount of butterfly range on here, plus a whole bunch of extra moving up range, so you can move his arm like all the way up. Just really, really cool design going into this stuff. So his arm goes all the way out. He's got a upper bicep rotation. It's got a double joint at the elbow for basically as much curl as you could possibly get out of this particular set of armors. The wrist joint, so it's on a ball joint here, but then that ball joint is on another joint as well, so you can get some curl like this out of it, like that. So you can flex. He can do his Arnold fist, I tried to think of a meme, something to say right off the top of my head, and that didn't work out, so whatevs. Now, let me spread out his arms a little bit. He's got a series of, so there's no ball joints in his waist, but there are a series of joints that just do all sorts of stuff. So you can move that far forward, and you can see these joints in there. Some pretty cool looking details. and it'll go back like that. It'll move some from side to side. There's a side to side joint up in the upper body, but then there's also a pivot uh, on the skirt armor itself. These skirt armors are all on ball joints here, so they'll rotate a little bit, but they'll move out. And this front and side skirt armor are connected together a little bit, like they're on one little bracket to move back and forth, so you get some extra outy movement there. And all 6 skirt armors will move around. You get a lot of range on the leg. So the leg is on. It's really interesting, the design of the leg. So you can of course see this ball that is. It's not a ball joint. It just looks like a ball. That's just the physical design of it. But the hinge is actually very, very on the edge of that ball. So it all rotates down as you move that leg forward. Let me bend the knee just so I can get that all the way up in there. And so you get a lot of range that way. Now you can also take and undo this clip right here on the underside. And that allows for the pivot point of the hip to swing down, and then you can push that back into place to lock that in. And now the pivot point is down farther down, so that the leg actually can move up higher. It's also good if you're going to put them down like on a knee. This lowers that leg a little bit so that you get more, so that it reaches the ground better. Just some fantastic stuff. You'll also notice, check out the leg armor as this knee bends. So you'll bend a little bit, and then you can see some piston details and stuff in there. But then as you bend it more, this armor here on the front of the thigh starts to move. And then when you bend it more, you get armor here starts to detach, and then this little section, this vernier on the back, moves down as well. So let me do this again. So you start to bend, then the thigh starts going, and then take a look, both of the knee and this thruster section down the back just shifts down like that. Really, really well done. The engineering in this kit is just phenomenal. You've got so you've got your joint down here, but that joint is on another joint which is attached to some more armor that moves. That's cool. A little bit of wiggle in that. So with just this ankle joint here, you've got a range of motion like that. And then you throw in this other guy, and that gives you a bit more tilt. There's a toe joint as well. And this joint here on the foot goes back and forth for a large degree of bend. So all of that is really cool. So you can get lots of posability, lots of articulation and poses out of this guy, which is fantastic. Now the hands aren't posable, but he does come with extra hands. He's got these fists here. He's got a pair of open hands like so. He's got a pair of holding hands, and then he's got one special trigger hand. And these just swap in and out via ball joints. Very standard stuff here. And let's start getting into some of his accessories. Actually, really quick, I want to talk about some of the stuff that the action features that they built into this. He's got this little thing here where you can pull on these shoulder armors to bring them out a little bit to show some extra details. There is a moving panel here on this skirt, and it doesn't do anything on this kit, but I strongly feel that this is going to accept armor parts for. There's an armored up variant of the new Gundam, and I think that we're going to get that armor later. It hasn't been announced or even really strongly hinted at, but I can't think of any other reason for this panel to slide out and have not one but two attachment slots on there. And it doesn't do anything else, so might as well. We've also got some slide out and armor there. There's a detail on the underside of the arm here that comes out, just revealing some more detail. I want to say this flips up too. Yeah, it slides out ever so slightly. Little bit of fun little details. I don't know that I'm ever really going to do anything with those features, but it's cool to have them in there. So, in terms of accessories, there is one beam saber that I've got stored on here, and this is actually pretty cool built-in storage. So you take and you pull on this blue part here, and as you pull on that, it automatically pops out that beam saber. And then you just kind of tug that out. And there's that tiny little beam saber. It's got a slot in it. So we can take one of his holding hands, split this apart. There's a slot built into that palm. Slot that in there. Close it back up. And then we can take the included beam effect, stick it in there. So he's got, it's like, they call it a beam saber. It's basically like a lightsaber for those of you who are not Gundam inclined. Now he's actually got two of these. So let me take this one off of his hand. He keeps a second one here on his back. And he can reach up and grab that, pull it out. That fits in just in the same slot system as the last one. And this one has got a bigger, more curvier looking blade that goes onto it. And then also, because somebody just figured it would be cool, it's got a tinier little beam that goes on the bottom of it. And so he can slash, and then he can do a backhand stab, I guess. I haven't... Full disclosure, I haven't actually seen Char's Counterattack, the movie. But, I mean, I suspect that's probably why that's there. I don't know if that move actually gets done in the course of the show. I've got it on my computer. One of these days I'll actually watch it. Next up, he has a beam rifle, and this is cool because it's all molded in color. Of course, I didn't do any paint on this because paint is for suckers. But these slots here are gray, and that's because there's a gray underlying part. And so these gray details, like here, this little detail under here, there's a little bit of gray right there at that base. That's all an underlying part, and then you slap the white pieces on top of that and the blue piece on top of that, and then this yellow piece on there. And that gives you your completely color corrected beam rifle. And that goes into his trigger hand. Again, you just pull that apart. There's a slot in the palm. The earlier real grade figures or kits, they all came with these posable hands that were just awful because they didn't hold anything. So I'm actually quite happy that they moved away from those hands, even though they were, system injected and like totally cool. They didn't work all that good. And as much as I like, cool engineering, functionality is just, it's important to me. So let me stock this back up. And slip that in. Next up, I want to reveal his shield. Now this is cool because I like the design of this in that you've got these gray parts poking through on the front, which is not something that you see in any version of the new Gundam's shield to this point. And so it just it breaks up, like this could be like a big monotonous white, and that would just break that up. And I'm really happy that they didn't do that. And to attach that on, we're going to turn his arm in. There's little, you can see these little tabs, these little slots on the side of the arm there. Plug those in. That does block the use of that beam saber, but I guess that's why he's got two. And that sits on his arm just like that, and sits quite well actually. I do kind of wish that it had. This attachment isn't super secure, unfortunately. It pops off really easily. I would have liked to have some sort of an attachment that clipped on and then allowed you to mount it. I personally always like to mount shields on the side of the arm, but I know that a lot of Gundam designers like to mount it on the back of the arm. And they do have this hinge built into that mount to allow you to put it on there and angle it a bit. So maybe you can do what I'm trying to do and find like a common, like a good happy medium between the two. So that's an idea. Now I mentioned that the earlier real grades came with these system injected inner frames. It was basically like you snip the piece off the runner, and it already has like motion and joints built into it. And they avoided that for most of the kit, but on these fin funnels, there's a bracket through here that came off as one piece, but it allows for motion still. And I think that's probably the best way to do it for, this particular application, because it allows you to have motion in something that would be, if you assembled that hinge in there, it would just be kind of finicky and maybe fragile, and you wouldn't want that. So the use of system injection in that is actually really good, I think, and I don't anticipate that having issues with it. But it comes with 6 of those, and there is a particular pattern that they are typically assembled, but they're all identical builds. And so you've got a tab here, which you can fold in and flip out, and then it's got this clip here, which you can move this clip around to poke out on either side. Let me put this to the side a bit so it'll actually focus on this thing. So you can move this clip around to either side. Because there is an expansion to allow you to basically build this with 2 funnel sets instead of 1. And I don't have that expansion, though. I'm kind of thinking about it, because even though it's some P-Bandai exclusive, so it's going to cost me an arm and a leg comparatively, I think it would look really cool. So let me get that clipped on. And these, of course, each one of these has got this clip here on the back, and that will attach on right there. And here's a problem that I'm getting with my shield. Shield's getting in the way of that. But that just clips onto this mounting bracket on the back there. And one of the things that I like about this kit, because I had a master grade New Gundam until it took a particularly disastrous shelf dive and broke beyond repair. And it was cool, and I liked having it standing around, but its funnels didn't ever want to stay on, and they didn't ever want to stay in place, and they were always like super floppy, and made it really back heavy, and like it was cool, but it didn't really work out that well. And these are, I feel like these are completely just done right. They look good, and they sit well, and they stay in place. And I think it'd be cool to get myself. There's an option kit for this where it comes with little like booster effects for these funnels and an extra stand piece, because you can't attach this to a stand. You've got this piece here that'll clip into the backpack and mount it on just like a regular. Well, this will mount on a regular action base, Gundam action base. I don't know if it'll fit for. I don't know if it'll fit for like a soul stage or something like that. But anyhow, it comes with stuff to have all the little funnels displayed and flying around. I think that would be cool to do. But there he is, all kitted up, and I just love this design. Now, years ago, let me see if I can grab this without being obnoxious. Years ago, I purchased the high grade Universal Century one, which that's one of their smaller, cheaper designs, and I really liked this kit for a long time. But as I put together the real grade kit, I had these side by side, and it was just an example of like this kit's like, I could see its sense of morale just like slowly deteriorating as I continued to work on this one, because like this one wasn't terrible. I mean, it's not super great. It's got loads of issues, sure. But it just straight up sucks compared to this one. And with the advent of this kit here, like I would never even mess with this kit ever again. Sorry, kit, but you're old news now. This kit just looks amazing. It's so good to build. This is easily the best Bandai kit I've ever built. And I know I said that about the real grade Unicorn a couple years ago, but this is definitely better than the Unicorn. Not that I dislike the Unicorn, but just this kit is just so much better. And so I'm loving it. But anyhow, that's about all I got. I went over all the accessories. Oh, I missed one accessory. This is the last accessory. This is the Hyper Bazooka. I think they call it Hyper Bazooka. I don't know. This is its bazooka launcher thing, and it's pretty cool. Nice little red to break up the color here. Gray, white. This does have one of the few decals that's on this kit. One of the few like color correcting decals. It's got a metallic. Let me see if I can get it to catch the light. It's got a metallic green in there, which looks good. This handle comes out, and you can position it however you want. This does extend. That's a new feature for this design, by the way. I don't know that I don't know either of the master grades or anything has ever had that extending before. And then it also has a little tab that pokes out. And then you can store this on the figure right back here on the backpack. And so it's cool because you can have all of his equipment on him at one time for like a full loadout. And it looks super cool. I'm super thrilled by this. It looks great. I may actually go out and have it replace my Unicorn Gundam on display in my living room. So, but anyhow, that's all the posability. That's all the accessories. Showed you some of the action features that are built into it. This kit is fantastic. I absolutely recommend if you're a fan of Gundams or whatnot. Um, I absolutely recommend picking it up. I don't know that I would pick it up as my first kit, but I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're willing to put a little bit of work into it to make it look good. You know, with the stickers and the details, and putting some ink in the panel lines or whatnot, it'll just look amazing. But anyhow, I think I've gushed long enough about this. Thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Go ahead and leave me a comment. I do have some other Gundam kits I would be happy with reviewing if anybody doesn't hate that. And go ahead and leave me a comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.